Gonna do it? Maybe. Maybe. Maybe it's gonna do it? Looks like we've gotten it done. Great. Third time's the charm. That stuff over here. Here. All right. There we go. Yeah, that seems to have worked. Okay. Well, that's what happens. All seems to be well in the world again. Unfortunately, it booted me out when that fix that I tried did not fix it. In fact, it made it worse. Booted me right out. We're back in, at least for the moment. They will be back and going. Yeah, we'll probably finish up this hex, and I was doing this stream to try to figure out. Well, we could do the next hex too, because the next hex is going to be mostly water. We're not gonna have. We shouldn't, for us, have a ton of stuff there in our hex. Yeah. Otherwise, we're gonna do body doubling. Yeah. If you guys want to, I guess I should probably write that back in there. Yes. Mapping, or how about master? There we go. Okay, let's move on. For now, I'm gonna turn off the mic, but if you guys have questions, just drop in and tell me. But we're not gonna do this for too much longer. I just wanted to try out. I'm trying out restream, which is the main thing. So I figured this would be a good opportunity to do it and try it out. And yeah, I think it works. Okay, I guess. Not really having a lot of issues with it. Everything looks okay from my end. All right, and other than the one issue I just had, I guess, which I guess was a connection issue. That seems to be resolved as far as I can tell. I can tell no drop frame, so I think we're good there. I'm gonna turn this mic off, but if you guys have questions, just drop in. Alright, well that brings that hex to a close. So we've done a pretty good job. This is our caliphate, the current campaign I'm running, this county map. Means that each one of these little guys in here is roughly about 12 miles across. So most of our campaign takes place way down here. This little island right here. But you can see that the game it's for the caliphate, so this is for the whole nation that we're looking at. So the nation is kind of, it's technically on this peninsula. We're right in between two big land masses. So there is a landmass, a big continent just to the west here, and then there's a big continent right to the east. The part of it's sticking out, well, that head's in the way. Down here at the bottom, it just peeking out. And you can just the end of it. But most of our stuff is taking place in Palais. Right here, Palais Island. But our friends are from Map to Shabira, which is the city right here. So they haven't gone very far. In fact, they've spent most of their time in this campaign on and around Palais Island, which is a little offshoot. It's in this rough area where there's a bunch of coastal shoals and coral reefs and things like that are really difficult to get to. So it does have a bit of a reputation as a bit of a smuggler's cove, which they've come across already. But to show you here. So this right here is the little island they're on. It's just, again, it's about 12 miles across. So about a 12-mile diameter island, so not a huge island. You can, if you're really hoofing it, you can get across the island in about a day. And it's hard to travel in a straight line across it because there's a bunch of landforms and stuff that's in the way. But if you were going as the crow flies, you could definitely get across it in a day without much problem. This is mostly what they've been dealing with. What I wanted to do, so Map to Shabira is the full capital of the Caliphate. It is a religious nation. This is actually a quite small nation. It's just at a very specific point. It is a religious nation. That's what's going on with it. It is overseen by the larger church in the area. Hey, how's it going, Count Swagula? How are you? Going well. We're just, honestly, we're just kind of finishing up a little bit here, I think, at this point. I don't want to get into too much. We'll see if maybe there might be one more good hex we can crush through real quick. But I think we're mostly going to be done here. Just a short stream. Kind of really wanted to check out how the dual stream would work. Seems to be working fine, except for the hiccup we had with our connection. Otherwise, seemed to go pretty well. So if you guys want to watch the whole stream, obviously the VOD will be up on Twitch, and then you can see a thing down over on YouTube, over on the Fiendish Sundries, which is our little second channel for some of this stuff. But yeah, that's it. This has been super fun. I guess I could show you the full world, but this is the Caliphate's regional scale map of the Caliphate, which is the one nation that all of our campaigns are in right now, which is set off on this little peninsula here. I can show you. I just gotta find the thing real quick. Up, and I can show you guys the full world map. Actually, I can show you maps. That one. Open it that way. Here. And let's open. Our big map. And let's do probably the best look. That's kind of what we're looking at here. Go. So this is the map of the full world. We're actually right here. Right in between, there's a big continent on the left, our central continent, and an even larger continent on the right. Full map, but as far as the Caliphate's concerned, it is right here. You'll notice there's not a big thing there because it's actually just a little peninsula that's spitting out from right here. Kind of goes into this hex, and then they control the waterways of the Gold Sea in the north. So they're not a particularly powerful nation, but they are at a very specific place where they control a lot of trade that kind of goes through there. We have number of cities and number of major rivers that are dumping out into the sea here. Got one right here, and one right here, and one right here. We've got some pretty large cities over here. So as they're sitting right here, they control a lot of trade that kind of comes in between, specifically in between the central and eastern continents. To show you, we can go back into, so this is one step down. This is the regional map. So if we put this in context, so this will show this hex and then the 6 hexes around it, this little flower here of 7 hexes we're looking at in this next one. That shows you it. See, here's the little peninsula that kind of comes off into the middle, and that's where they're set on. There's a couple of big city we have, as well as Shabira, which is a temple city. And then we've got probably our little island, our little smuggler's cove, which is well known. Each one of these hexes across is 60 and something miles. Maybe closer to 72 miles, is that right? I don't remember math off the top of my head because they're not technically statute miles like our normal imperial miles. They're actually nautical miles is what I use because that fits in very easily into longitude and latitude, but nautical miles are just a little bit longer than a standard imperial or statute mile. Doing the conversion in my head for people is a little weird because it's like 1.12 miles to nautical mile. So just just different enough to be an issue. So this is the Caliphate is then just this middle hex, larger hex that's kind of here. You can see they've got the shadow to show you the edges of where those hexes are. So this area right here, and mostly waterways around it. They don't have a powerful navy, but they are in a very specific place where they don't really need one because there's actually not a ton of nautical real estate that they need to take care of. They can actually patrol most of this pretty easily. And they've got cities on each side of the peninsula, which gives them pretty easy access to control everything that's going on through here. As well as it's just really difficult to get through this area. It'll make more sense when we zoom in. We'll zoom in one more factor. So this next factor is, again, just going to be, it's the one that we were just working on. So you'll see. So it is just this larger grouping of hexes in the middle. That's what that looks like. It's all blown out. So you see you've got the city over there, city over here, our Poly Island. We've got some silver mines. We've got the portfolio redoubt over there. And this is everything that is the Caliphates. And I would say this area over here is pretty contested. The one that my stupid head's hiding. Over here. This area over here that's actually on the mainland of the eastern continent is probably well contested, but there's not, mostly by minor kingdoms, there's not a large empire or nation state that's over there, so they get to put a little bit more influence on there because they have a little bit more behind them, as well as having the full brunt of like the church behind them. So not a lot of people go up against them, especially smaller kingdom, because you wouldn't want to, essentially what is a papal war on your hands historically in Europe. So you don't really want to be decried or excommunicated from the church, and then that makes you easy pillaging for all your neighbors. Is basically open season for war. Much less going to get crusaded upon. Probably not going to get crusaded on, but definitely some holy wars. And then if we zoom into exactly Poly Island, which is back over here. Boop, boop, boop. This little spit of land we got here. That's this map. So you've got this middle island and then a whole bunch of stuff around it. So it looks like a bunch of marshland that's around it. It's not all actually marshland. It's all a number of different things, including like shoals and coral, and as well as wetlands too, mangroves, salt mangroves, and things like that. It's really hard to navigate ships through here, which is why works as such a good smuggler's cove. Is that even it's really difficult for the Caliphate to get ships in here. You really need a specific person to tug you in, a barge to basically tug you in, and even that is, you have to have somebody who's really, really good at doing it, or else you're going to scuttle your ship on some coral or shoals or something. So most people don't use this for big trade, shipping trade. They go to one of the two big cities. So this is really for smugglers who are trying to avoid that and get things onto getting things onto the peninsula that maybe the Caliphate wouldn't be so happy about doing it, or maybe that we don't want to play our import dues or tariffs on. So yeah, that's all of that. Wait, any of that? So yeah, that's what we've been working on. We'll try to do more of these streams. I might try to get tomorrow. I was going to try to stream a little bit earlier in the week, but I'm feeling a little under the weather. Feeling a little bit better today. So, assuming that continues, we'll probably jump into a few more of these. I want to try out more of the restream stuff too, which allows me to post on stream on multiple channels, so we can do this on YouTube and Twitch, which is nice. Might jump in and maybe we'll play a game or something. We do need to continue the Vampire Masquerade game, so maybe we'll jump in and do that. Vampire Masquerade, not that one, not Bloodlines. We're doing the more visual novel one, which I haven't played in a minute here. So maybe now that I know the restream will work and I can figure out some different background music for it, I think it should work. But I think that's gonna be it for this one. Thanks guys for hanging out and watching as I try to troubleshoot this and get this in a place where I can do this a little bit more regularly. But you guys have fun, and we'll hop back in, and if you like it, like what you're doing here, following, subscribe, do that fun stuff. You'll get notified when I'm doing this live again. Because oftentimes I don't have a lot of forewarning on the live streams. We do our big ones Saturday mornings, and over on the YouTube, generally stream that where we do Dungeon Master stuff. I think we're going to talk about Ironsworn this Saturday, assuming I've got some bad weather that's actually supposed to hit. So fingers crossed that we keep our power and everything, because sometimes the power can go out when the weather gets bad around here, but usually doesn't. So we're gonna try to do it. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I'll see you guys next time. All right.